Welcome everyone. My name is Dhammasanti. I am a Buddhist nun living in Sri Lanka at the Paramita International Buddhist Meditation Center. This is the fourth of a series of Dhamma talks designed to go from the very beginning of the Buddha's teachings to the very deepest parts. So far in the last three talks, I've really been laying the foundation, introducing you to who the Buddha was, my own approach to Buddhism, a little bit about the history of Buddhism and my teacher. So today, in this fourth talk, I want to go right into the deepest part or the heart of the Buddha's teachings. So the topic of today's Dhamma talk is Dukkha. The word Dukkha, which is a Pali word that the Buddha used, is translated into English as usually suffering. But really it encompasses a whole range of conditions or experiences ranging from extreme suffering, depression, anxiety, unhappiness, discontent, all the way to what in the modern world we might call stress. So the Buddha used one word to describe all these things. Really what the word dukkha means is this lack of mental ease, a lack of mental peace, a lack of inner peace, a lack of inner happiness, a lack of contentment. So the whole of the Buddha's teachings can be seen as a problem, the cause of the problem, and the solution to the problem. It is this problem that the Buddha used the word dukkha to describe. This is the problem that every human being, no matter who we are, whether we're rich or whether we're poor, whether we're male, whether we're female, whether we're living in Sri Lanka or living in another country, whatever our station in life, even if we're the president or royalty, every single human being is struggling with this problem that the Buddha called dukkha, or in English, which is translated as suffering. And it is to this problem that the Buddha taught the world a solution, a way out, a way to end suffering once and for all, and to attain mental peace, happiness, and contentment. So what I want to discuss further in this talk is the problem, dukkha. What does the Buddha mean when he speaks about dukkha or suffering? Well, usually when he's speaking about dukkha, he uses several examples, and he usually begins by describing the nature of the body, which is the body is born, and from birth we are slowly growing old, we're going towards sickness, illness, especially today in the world with corona. We can see this, how dangerous illness is, how much suffering it causes. And eventually the nature of the body is to die. So this is something that no one can escape, no matter who we are, how much money we have. We all have to be born. Once we're born, we have to grow older, we have to get sick, and eventually we have to die. And death is not only for old people, it can happen at any time to anyone. So it's really hanging over our heads at any moment. Any one of us can die. We see this in the world today now. And so this is a very insecure situation we have in life, which causes us much suffering, unhappiness, stress. And not only do we have to grow old, get sick and die, everybody we love also has to grow old, get sick and die. and then that also causes us much suffering in life. And it's not just people, even objects have this nature that in the beginning they're new, but over time they decay and eventually they're destroyed. So even the sun and the moon have this impermanent nature that the Buddha described, and this impermanent nature of things, our own bodies, everybody we love, even inanimate things, causes us much sorrow, suffering, unhappiness and despair. You may have noticed this in your own lives when things change, or when people die, or something is lost, that we begin to suffer. So this is the first thing the Buddha talks about when he speaks about suffering, or dukkha. Then he also mentions that often in life we have to meet unpleasant circumstances. The circumstances around us are out of our control much of the time, and many times, maybe within each day or certainly from time to time, we are met with unpleasant circumstances, and this causes us to suffer or experience dukkha. Then he also mentions that sometimes we experience pleasant circumstances, but eventually the pleasant circumstances have to come to an end, and when they come to an end, we suffer. So maybe in romantic relationships we can see this. In the beginning it's very pleasant, romantic, we're in a very heightened state of excitement and pleasure. But eventually the pleasant circumstance, the pleasant situation, the pleasant relationship starts to change. And when that starts to change, we begin to experience unhappiness or stress or suffering, dukkha. So in other words, no pleasant thing in our life lasts forever. And when it changes, this is a very unpleasant thing for us. The Buddha also speaks about the nature of desire, that all the time human beings are struggling to satisfy or fulfill desire. And this struggle to fulfill desire is also very stressful, filled with much anxiety, unhappiness, a struggle. And even no matter how much we struggle, sometimes we can't fulfill the desire, and that causes us more suffering or unhappiness. Sometimes we do fulfill the desire, but whatever pleasure we get from fulfilling the desire, that doesn't last very long, and eventually a bigger desire comes into our minds, and then again we start this cycle of struggling to fulfill the new desire. And in this way we are our whole lives trapped in a cycle of struggling to fulfill desire, sometimes unable to do so, sometimes able to do so, but never experiencing a lasting peace and happiness in this struggle, in this cycle. So he also speaks about this being a part of dukkha, or suffering, the problem of dukkha, unhappiness. These are the conditions of the human existence, of impermanence, of having to grow old, get sick, and die, of everybody we love growing old, getting sick and dying, all our material possessions beginning to decay and lose their pleasantness. Also continuously us having to meet unpleasant circumstances. Also if we do have experiencing pleasant circumstances, eventually being separated from those, not the pleasant circumstances not being permanent, and being oppressed by desire, having to struggle to fulfill desire, to satisfy our wants, which are never ending, being stuck in this cycle and never finding lasting peace and happiness. So this is a little bit about what the Buddha speaks about when he speaks about dukkha. I want to explore this more deeply in the next talk. But this is the problem in a nutshell that is the foundation of the teachings of the Buddha. This is the problem that the Buddha offers this world a solution. This is the problem that Buddhism, the Buddhist practice, is seeking to solve. So I want to speak a bit more about the problem next time, and then in these coming series of Dhamma talks, explore the solution that the Buddha offers to this problem. So the teaching of the Buddha are about solving this problem of dukkha and finding inner peace, contentment and happiness. So I want to bring this talk to an end now. Hopefully you have a little bit more understanding about what is meant by the word dukkha, or suffering, in the context of the teachings of the Buddha. If you want to explore a little bit more about what I've said today, I recommend this book, Return to Tranquility. It's a very good introduction to the teachings of the Buddha, and it can be downloaded for free at www.bhantepunnaji.com. And it's written by my teacher, who has a very unique approach to Buddhism, and a way that it expresses the teachings of the Buddha that is very easy for Western people especially to comprehend, using modern terminology, Western philosophy and Western psychology. So I wish you all good health, peace and happiness. Thank you for joining me. May all beings everywhere be free from suffering.